Hello guys, welcome to the Selenium Training. This is Anshul Chauhan from easybix.com, and today we are going to discuss about the test parameterization using DataProvider in TestNG. So let's have a look for the high level agenda. So the very first thing what we are going to discuss about is what is test parameterization, and then we will come to what is DataProvider, and after DataProvider we will see the test case parameterization. So let's see what is test parameterization. So test parameterization is a technique to execute the same test case with the different set of test data. What does it mean? I hope every one of you have heard the name of data driven framework. So what is data driven framework? So like in data driven framework you have write down or you have prepared the script for once, and that script is driven by the data, by the test data. Suppose you are testing a registration form and you need to test it with the different sets of data, like sometimes you need to change the password, or sometimes you need to test it with the combination of the password data. Sometimes you need to test it with the combination of email and the combination of username. It could be anything, it could be a several number of test data. So in that case you need to write down the script once, only once you have write down the test scripts, and that test scripts you are fetching the test data dynamically. Okay, so that test case is driven by the data. So that technique is called the data driven technique. Using the same way, test parameterization is the same thing. In the test parameterization we parameterize the test case, and that parameters are fetching the data dynamically from the third party data provider. So in the data driven framework we will use the test parameterization. So this is the very important topic from the data driven framework, from the framework point of view. So please be with me till the tutorial complete. So test parameterization used to reduce the test code and allow test case to iterate over test data. So as we were discussing in the test parameterization, how it is reducing the test code, because for every test, suppose you want to automate the test case, in which in the first test case you are testing the login and password field, and sometimes you need to insert the login without @ and again you need to insert the username with @, and suppose your password is something which accept the number and alphabetic combination. So at once you need to supply only characters to test the validity of that particular text box, and again you will supply only the numbers. So for that test, for these kind of test cases, you don't need to write down the four test case, one without @ in username, and second with the @ in the username, then with the only numbers in the password field and only characters in the password fields. So we have the four tests. So you don't need to write down the test code for the four tests. No, you just need to write down a single test in which you are inserting a data in the username field and you are inserting the data in the password field, and after the inserting the data in both of the fields, you are doing some actions like click on login or on registration and verifying the response. So in that case, in such a scenario, you don't need to put you don't need to prepare 4 test scripts. Only one test script is enough, and we will accept that test data dynamically from the data provider. So data provider will execute the same test case 4 times with 4 different combination of test sets, or test data. So this is called test parameterization. So what is data provider? So data provider is a TestNG annotations. Like in the past tutorials we have seen the before test, after test, @ test. So in the same way, data provider is a TestNG annotation. So @ data provider is used to parameterize the test case. So the method whichever you want to declare as a data provider, you need to append that method with the @ data provider annotations. So in TestNG, data provider is a method annotated by the @ data provider annotations. So and the one important thing, data provider, the method which are you declaring as a data provider, always return 2-dimensional object array. This is the mandatory thing. Okay, next we come to the test case parameterization. So now the question is how you can parameterize the test case. So to parameterize the test case, user need to follow the below mentioned steps. Don't worry, there are only 3 steps. The first thing is create the data provider method with the @data provider annotations. Method return type must be 2-dimensional object array. So let's see it with a practical example. So in the previous videos we was implementing our test code in the EasyBix YT project we have created in the starting of the video tutorials of TestNG. So let's create a new class in this. Login test. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to create a data provider method with the @data provider annotation. So public no, and the return type must be 2-dimensional object array. So it should be object array of 2-dimensional, and let's name it get data. Okay, I am getting the error because of this. I did a mistake and I need to mention the return type as well. So for the time, just mention to remove the array, just return the null value. Now although it's an object array, so we need to initialize it. So we will initialize it. Object and let's name it data set equals to new object. Okay, so as you know, at the time of array initialization we need to define the size of array. So suppose we are taking object of 4 rows and 2 columns. Okay, so is that fine? We have created a method object get data, and in that get data we have declared the 2-dimensional object array which contains the number of rows is equal to 4 and column equals to 2. Okay, and return the object array data set. Is that fine? So this is the way how you can define the return type in a method of a method. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to insert the data inside this object array. So for the time being we are not reading the data from any third party data set, like we are not reading the data from the Excel or XML or CSV. We are just we will hard code the data in our test code, and in the coming tutorials when we come up to data driven framework tutorials, we will read the data dynamically from the third party tools like from Excel or from CSV or from XMLs. So for the time being we need to hard code the data. Okay, so we will insert the data in the data set 0 0 equals to Anshul. Okay, and 0 1 equals to Anshul 1 2 3. So what is this? This data, the data Anshul, will come in the first row of the first column, because in array the index start from the 0, that's why we took the 0, and the first row of and the second column contain the data Anshul 1 2 3. In the same way we will declare the 4 rows. So this is my 1 row, my second row, third row and fourth row, because we are getting 4 rows and 2 columns. So this is the second row's first column, and it will contain value like Alex, and second row's second column Alex 1 2 3. Okay, third row's first column, and it will contain the value like you could insert anything Marilia? Marilla 1 2 3. Okay, and this is my fourth row. Fourth row's first column, fourth row's second column. Here I will insert Jason, and here I will insert Jason Roy. Is that fine? So what we are forgetting? We are forgetting to put the @test annotation, sorry, @DataProvider annotation on the my DataProvider method. So I have inserted the DataProvider over here. So this is my, now this method is my DataProvider method, and this method contains the data. The first, this method contains the 4 rows and 2 columns, and first row contains the Anshul and Anshul 1 2 3, second row contains Alex and Alex 1 2 3, third row contains Marilla and Marilla 1 2 3, and so on. Now we need to insert our test case. So it's up to you if you want to look it inside a I will show you some kind of login fields or login experiment, then it will be okay. If you want to just print it out, then it will be okay again. So what we will do, first we will look at the test case where we are just print this data. This is my test case, public void and test login. Okay, so let's come to our slide first. So we have seen we create the DataProvider method with that DataProvider annotations. We have done that. The method return must be 2-dimensional object array. Yeah, that is done. Now what we need to do, declare the DataProvider name after the test annotations like test DataProvider equals to DataProvider method name. So the test method, which test on which test method you want to use it, you need to define it like this way: DataProvider equals to name of the DataProvider. What is the name of the DataProvider? Get data over here. That's it. Now we know this method contains, the DataProvider contains the 4 rows and 2 columns. So it's up to you. If this particular test login want to accept only single parameter like username, then it will be okay. You will not get any kind of error. How system sysout, and here we will print out the username. Okay, that's fine. So suppose if I will execute it, so before execute it, I will come to the slide again and pass the argument in the test method what you want to use from the DataProvider. So we have done that. We have passed the first argument. This is the argument, my first argument. We have passed the argument inside the method in which I want to use the DataProvider. So suppose this is my method, this is my test method, test login is my test method in which I want to use the DataProvider argument. Or sorry, I want to use that DataProvider, which DataProvider? Get data, and I want to use only the first column of that particular DataProvider. So how will I do that? So let's execute it using the TestNG. Okay, test got failed. Method matcher exception, DataProvider mismatch. Okay, so we are getting the error. The DataProvider what we are using is not matching with the DataProvider. So there are some kind of error. So let's see how we are getting why we are getting this error. So in the error it's stated clearly like DataProvider mismatch. Okay, so what is happening actually in the DataProvider is supplying the 2-dimensional or 2 columns, 2-dimensional array. Okay, but we are using only the one thing, only the first parameter. So to remove the error we need to accept the second one as well. So suppose take it as a password. Okay, it's up to you. You just need to implement that in the method signature, in your test signature, but it's up to you. You want to use it inside your test case or not. This is my test case code where I'm using only the username. I'm not using that password. So it's up to me. I want to use it or not. Okay, so run this test case. So you can see in the console the 4 tests has been executed, 0 failure, 0 escape, and it has printed the first value of every column. So Anshul, Alex, Marilla and Jason. Okay, using the same way I can put the I can use the second value as well, like password is this plus, and sorry, this is username. Username is this and password is this, what, plus password, and I will execute it once more time. Run as TestNG. So you can see 4 tests has been executed. Username is Anshul and password is Anshul123. Username is Alex. Password is this. In the same way, the rest of data. Here you can see the 4 tests has been executed, but I am using only a single test. I don't have the 4 tests over here. I have only 1 test, but the same test is being executed 4 times. Why? Because in my test data, in my data provider, I have the 4 rows. So as many as number of rows are present in the data provider, okay, the test case which is using that particular data provider will execute up to that much time. So in that case, the test data is driving the test case. So this is the backbone of data driven framework. Using this way you can parameterize your test case. So let's have a look. If you want to execute it, execute it in a real life, suppose we need to perform some kind of login validation on any site. So we will take the example of Facebook or any website. Public void login login Facebook. Okay, and it will accept these 2 parameters, username and password, and I will put the @test annotation over here. Okay, just remove it. So suppose okay, and control Z. I need to pass the data provider as well, because I am using this data provider for my test case. Done. Okay, so suppose I want to log in, I want to check the Facebook login. Okay, so before before execute the login, I need to invoke the application. So for that I will put I need to check, do I have the TestNG here? Yes, I think the TestNG is present. Okay, so before testing the login function, I need to invoke the application. Okay, so I will invoke the application in the before method. Okay, so public void invoke application. Okay, and I need to invoke the WebDriver. Driver equals to new WebDriver. Chrome driver. And we have seen in the past tutorials how we can execute the Chrome and other things. So we need to take the driver of Chrome driver to invoke the application using Chrome. And inside my Chrome driver, I will put driver.get and the URL of Facebook. So https www.facebook.com facebook.com. But before this I need to provide the Chrome driver.exe path inside my test case. So we have done this in the previous classes. Let me check where we have executed that. Yeah, this is the path. Here I have executed my, so I will copy the path over here. Why I am doing this? Because my Chrome driver.exe is present inside my D directory and the drivers directory. So as we have discussed in the previous classes, to execute the test case with the Firefox you need Greco driver, to execute the test case with the Chrome driver you need to Chrome driver.exe, and to execute the test case from the IE you need IE driver server. Okay, so this is the way how you can set the driver path, and how you can invoke the Chrome driver, and driver.get will insert this URL inside your web application. And here I think you have find out the first name and last name, so these two elements are enough for me. So I'm just copying these elements over here in the previous tutorials, and I will put these elements inside my. Okay, why I'm getting the error? Because my WebDriver is not a global element. I need to define it as a class level. Define it as null. Done. So this is the way how you can define the web element in Selenium. We have discussed these things already. This is the CSS selector, because we have seen these in the previous tutorials where we was I think this in the find elements classes we have seen these things already. Okay, so it will be the first name field of my first name field of my web applications. So let's see how we can do that. Open the Firefox. Put Facebook, invoke the Firebug, okay, and hover on the first name. So you can see input and ID is u_0_2. This is the ID what we are taking. Okay, this is 2. So what is this? This is 2 and this is surname is 4. So we will take it input ID 0_2. And what is the ID of the of the surname, or take it as a surname? It is u_0_4. By name, no, by CSS selector, and by CSS selector, and put it 4. If you are not getting it, what I am doing right here, you can visit our tutorials in which we have explained the Firebug and we have explained the web elements in Selenium tutorials. So in the same channel you will find out the 2 playlists, one for TestNG and another one for the Selenium WebDriver, and in the Selenium WebDriver tutorials these things are very clearly explained over there. Okay, so we have seen to insert the data inside the first name. What we need to do, we need to use dot send keys method. So in the first name I will send the username, and in the last name I will send the password. Okay, and suppose here I am putting some weight to C thread.sleep. Using the thread.sleep you can put some kind of hard code weight inside your test case. So I have put it 3000 over here, so it will sleep for the 3 seconds. Okay, so using this way you will be easily able to see, is it entered the first name inside your first name text box, and will it insert the your password inside the surname field or not. Okay, and but before run this test we need to put @ before test or before method annotation over here. So before test annotations, I have put the before test annotation. It means before executing this test case, it will invoke the application, okay, and it will insert the 4 values in a single way inside your applications. Okay, so we will execute this particular test case using our TestNG.xml. Why? Because using this way we will look into our report ng report very clearly. What is the error over there and how it is going on, okay? And we have already seen how we can generate the report ng in our past tutorials in the report ng integration with the TestNG. Easy fix. This is my package name, and inside my package name, okay, login test. This is my test case. So my package is TestNG. And my class is login test. Yeah, that's it. I will execute it. Run as TestNG.suite. So it will invoke the application, and you can see Anshul and Anshul 1, 2, 3 has been entered. Now it is waiting. Alex has been entered. Now Marilla has been entered, and Jason has been entered. Why? It is appending the values every time, and we have not closed the applications. So my 4 test has been executed clearly. Why it was appending the values? Because before inserting the value, I am not clearing the already exist value inside my test field. So first name dot clear and last name dot clear. Using the clear method, you can clear out the values which are already present inside the text box, okay? And after this we will put the after test public void close application and driver dot close, and here I will put the @ after test. We have seen after test and before test and other annotations of the TestNG inside our tutorials, TestNG annotations. Okay, so you can find out the same tutorial inside the TestNG playlist. I will execute it one more time. Run as TestNG suite. So you can see it will invoke the application. Enter the first name, last name. Clear out the field, enter the second data. Clear out, enter the third data. Clear the data and enter the fourth data over here. So this is the way how you can execute your test case using the data driven technique, or how you can parameterize your test case using the data provider. So you can see I have only one test case, okay, but on the basis of the data provider or on the basis of the test data, it is being executed 4 times. You can see 4 tests run over here. If you want to see the HTML report, then you can see we will copy the location of this folder, because I am generating my report ng reports on this location, and I will open the index.html over here. So you can see, okay, I am getting the priority test because the test case name is priority test inside my testng.xml. You can see over here testng.xml. Here the test name is priority test. So we will change it. Now we want to execute, we want to see the report. So you can see same method, login Facebook test case has been executed 4 times. Although the test case was only 1, but it has been executed 4 times, and with the argument like this: Marilla 1, 2, 3, Jason, Alex and Anshul, and the execution time is present in front of the test case. So this is the way how you can see 4 tests and 4 has been passed. The duration is 20 seconds and pass rate is 100%, because we was not inserting any kind of assertion in my test case. So this is the way how you can execute your test case, or how you can design the data driven test cases using TestNG data provider annotations. Okay, let's come to our slide. So thank you guys, thanks for your time. So if you have any doubt, if you have any query regarding today's tutorial, then you can put your queries inside the comment section, and we will be happy to answer you. If you like this video, then you can like and share this video, and for the further tutorial updates you can subscribe our channels as well. So thank you, thanks for your time.